Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that every day for a reason. I say that because I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice-a-week long-form podcast, because I want to put the right information out there from the people who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take all of that, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. As you can see, I'm live today, and I normally have that American flag behind me every single day because I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. As you can see, I'm live from the TIA conference out here in beautiful San Diego with my man, Matt Silver. Matt, what is going on today?
Living the dream out here with you. We've got Hawaiian shirts poolside.
Yes.
And the ocean just behind us. It's a great location.
Dude, San Diego is my favorite city. Like, to visit anyways. Arizona's home, but like, dude, just to get out here, and I don't know. I love the city. I love the environment. I know that the screen's a little bit blurred behind us here because, you know, lighting, you guys, is kind of hard to fucking travel with it. And I have lighting, but it made it too bright and everything. But you guys are here to see Matt anyways at the end of the day. Matt, we're out here, Technovations. You guys got some stuff that you're about to release. So what green screens, what are you guys about here today?
Yeah, so the big announcement, the big purpose of this week is to announce our capacity on tap feature. So new platform inside our UI. We're predicting the rates for brokers today. So we can show you what the market rate is. We also expand on that, build out a machine learning model for each and every brokerage that's unique to them. All the influences of their freight, their team, their depth of capacity, how they go to market, how they trend, all of that is represented. The next step, and the question we always got, was how do I find a truck?
Yeah.
Right? That's what we're all struggling with right now. And once I know the price, finding that truck is the big hurdle. So instead of bringing yet one more competitor to that space, we decided we would just aggregate and bring everybody together in one window pane. So now on our platform, going live end of this month, virtually, and I have to be careful with it, virtually all capacity
That's technically a sales rep, so he loves to push it like I do.
As close to the edge as I can get. It's a shorter list of capacity providers who are not included, as opposed to the list of all the partners that are included. And yesterday we did the big press announcement. So companies like truckstop.com, our friends actually sitting at the table behind us just out of screen, Cargo Chief are part of it. We've got Highway playing ball with us in there, and numerous others. So almost all of the capacity that is available from all of these different providers in one pane of glass. Your team doesn't have to go to other tabs. They don't have to log in. They don't have to click on anything else. They don't have to worry about transposing numbers, wasting time, forgetting about a resource that they have. Everything right at their fingertips. The same API call that we have grabbing that load data from the TMS pre-populates everything on one page.
Dude, I love that. Tony Darnell, happy Thursday. Bill McIntyre, Michelle LeBlanc, Louis Montano, Stephen Title, good morning to you guys all. Fritz Lauer, good morning. Happy Technovations. Dude, I'm excited about because I actually won a load with green screens prior to jumping out. I was talking, because like I say all the time, you guys, I'm actually building a freight brokerage here for you guys as well. And I was in my room this morning, as a startup, I'm sending out all my solicitation emails. I'm out there prospecting because it doesn't matter where I am. I got to make sure that those are done. And, a couple of my existing clients hit us up this morning, pulled up my little friends over at Green Screens, populated the rate, quoted, boom, won it literally 38 seconds before we went live today based on that. And, again, you guys, that's the accuracy that is delivered with this product. And yes, they are advertisers. They are partners of mine. But it works, you guys. Like I talk about it all the time, the accuracy that comes along with it. And just like the easeability, right? Like filling out RFPs and being able to just like drop all of it into there and have it spit out 38 lanes in a matter of seconds. You guys are on top of the future, right? Like we got to be efficient with our time most importantly. And, for somebody like me who I'm building stuff, like I wear literally, yes, this backwards hat all the time, but I wear multiple hats. I'm building a couple of businesses, staying on top of that, responding to customers, having accurate pricing. Like, dude, that's everything, right? And it's like, this is the real side of entrepreneurship that I'm trying to show people. It's like, it's not this, celebration of all these people are cheering you along and everything else. It takes a lot of work, and you need the right tools to help maximize your time. And I've been talking about that a lot this year, Matt, that's like my sole mission now and every year in the future. How do I buy my time back?
Yep.
How do I maximize my output and everything? And that's what I love about what you guys are doing at Greenscreens, and especially like the innovation that you're talking about right here with this new release. Like, it sounds like you're combining 8 steps into one.
Exactly. Yeah. And to your point, time is the only resource we can't get back. You can't buy it. It's just always slipping away from you. So as efficient as you can be, to respect your own time, right? You want to be as productive as possible. You want to be efficient in your operation from the top down. Everybody that's contributing needs to be hyper efficient. But what we're seeing a lot in the market right now, and the trends that are happening, right? All these RFQs and RFPs are shorter time frames.
Yes.
Right. There's more people battling it out. And there's a ton of freight in the spot market, obviously, because the spot market's weak right now.
For
right?
sure.
So we're all feeling that. But with that, what we're seeing is first to respond often wins. First to be accurate, having a reputation with your shippers that you are fair about what's going on in the market, both as it increases and decreases in value. That's what builds those relationships, right? That's when you have a sticky situation, you can call in that favor because you've been fair for so long. You're the fastest to respond to them when they have a need.
You sound like you've been doing this job for a little bit. Well, how long have you been in freight for?
Man. Yeah, I think I ended up in freight like everybody, right?
Yeah.
We ended up in freight. I got here about 15 years ago with a little startup freight brokerage called Global Trans.
It's funny to hear that, because it's like when people see those brands now, they don't think that it was started out of a garage, right? Because it's like, if you know Andrew Leto's story at all, Global Trans was started off of his VA check, I'm pretty sure. And then it built it up, so like, and it's like a little company called Global Trans and all these other ones, it's like, I love seeing that like progression and everything. And, the market, because that's always the top of mind, right? Everybody's talking about the market, this, the market, that. I've been saying this last couple of days. I don't subscribe to there being a good market or a bad market. I subscribe to, I need to find solutions for my customers. At the end of the day, they don't care. Like, the numbers are a part of it, right? And then frankly, the market being up or down really, in my opinion, only affects the publicly traded companies that are out there, because their stock price goes up and down with it. But the majority of the companies that are out there that are the small to mid-sized businesses, let's be honest, the macroeconomic indicators, yes, they are a thing. I'm not saying they're not, but that doesn't affect my cold calling. That doesn't affect my business development. What I want to see people stop doing is using that as an excuse to not prospect, right? Like, dude, I hate cold calling just as much as anybody. Like, I don't know anybody who wakes up in the morning, it's like, I want to get told no 99 times today.
Boy, if I get that 100th.
I know, right? I'm going to get hung up on and everything. Nobody looks forward to that. But like, I think a lot of it, you got to remove a lot of the noise, and you got to focus on what can you do today for that one prospect and that one customer who, is going to hit you up one day eventually and be like, what's your price on this? What's your availability on this? And again, there's so much talk about everything at a high level that literally has zero effect on your day-to-day. How do I know that? Because I'm doing it every single day. The macroeconomics of this freight market have nothing to do with the load that I'm picking up here in a couple of hours for a customer of mine. Has zero to do with it. Execution is key.
And kind of building on that too, right? If we look back and we compare year over year, that's where you're going to see those big market indexes adjust and things like that. But on an individual load basis, the good news is, regardless of the market going up or down, we're all in it together.
Yes.
Right? Your shipper, your broker, your carrier, the driver, and every technology partner in between those steps, everybody is playing the same transaction at the same time in the same market.
Yeah.
So you're right. It doesn't matter that much. What does matter is being quick, being knowledgeable.
Yes.
Understanding how moving a shipment today versus tomorrow versus 2 weeks ago is going to vary.
It's the execution piece, Matt. And I think that I don't want to sound like, well, people who watch my show for a reason, because I keep it real, right? But at the end of the day, I understand the challenges, right? Like I truly do. It's not as easy as a lot of people who like to post out there and everything else want to make it sound like. I get the mental side of things and everything else, but like really when it fundamentally boils down to it, you need to execute no matter what, right? Because it's like, if, again, like I'm technically a customer of green screens, right? If I called you guys with a question, you're like, oh, the market, I'm going to be like, wait, what? You know what I mean? And it's like, I want to see more people focus on like, there is a solution out there, no matter how challenging it is, how dire it might look out there, you need to find that solution. That's why people hire you. Like, this is hard. Business is hard. It's like, I don't know where it was written like, hey, it's going to be easy. You're just going to print money, everything else under the sun. Like, you got to work for it. You got to earn it. And then you need to have the tools behind you to be able to execute, because that's the thing, man. Is execution is everything with this.
Yeah, and it's definitely hard. Look, I love, my past at a big name brokerage, and we talked to hundreds of people out here that have started brokerages themselves after working at a big name, and now they're independents like yourself, right? And nobody's doing it because like, wow, I played ping pong and it was awesome, so I'm going to replicate that. We all know it takes massive amounts of labor spend and commitment to build their business and get there. But with the tools that are available today in comparison to when I started in this industry, right? Having TMSs that are absolutely top tier. They're giving each and every brokerage the ability to pick and choose the pieces of technology that they want as part of their tech stack. So you can acquire capacity in an interesting way now. You can market your loads however you want to syndicate them out to load boards or any of the digital freight matching platforms. All of it has become this massive landscape of optionality. And when I was in the brokerage world, like, you got none of that, right? Like, we tried to build it ourselves and failed. We tried to buy it from somebody and failed because we could only have one option. And you're assuming the driver is on the other end of that option all the time. Every driver I talk to will tell me point blank, I have every app. Right. I go to every marketplace because they're looking for what fits their need in a very confined moment, because they're the only ones in the entire transaction cycle that are confined by the government on how much time they can work every day. And I think that's forgotten by a lot of people too, is like, well, we can get to it tomorrow. Well, the driver pool may not be there. Or maybe it is better to move it tomorrow because the driver pool will be there.
No, man, it's, to me, automation is, I think AI, like what's out there, I'll say outside of the transportation industry, I'm not a big fan of a lot of those tools out there because I think it is legitimately designed to replace people. But the AI that we're discussing today in some of the companies that are showcasing here, for me, from my perspective, is it frees up my time so I can prospect more. It frees up my time so when my customer reaches out to me, I can reply to that in a timely manner. Because you're right, man. Sometimes it's just they need a rate, they need a truck, you need to respond right now. And just like that driver that's out there, they need a shipment. Why aren't my carrier team, as I build this out, man, that's their sole job, is to take that driver's phone call to make sure that driver has everything that they need. They shouldn't be manually doing anything inside of my system. If a load confirmation needs to be sent out, automatically should do that. If a load needs to be built, it should be auto-populated. If we need to quote a load, scrape the email, utilize green screens, and then it pops up with the price, type it in. If you don't want to go as far where you want your team typing in the actual quote itself, that saves time, right? Because it's like, man, right now, like again, this morning, dude, I had 3 customers hit me up for prices in a matter of 7 minutes. I had to,
problem.
Well, no, dude, it's a great problem. But again, the thing is if I didn't reply to that, if that wasn't lanes that I was familiar with, that I was like, nope, here's your day price, this is what we're going to need, that could have cost me business. I can't afford to have revenue walk out the door right now because I'm inefficient with my processes, right? And I think like that's what you need to look at is it's like, how do you become more efficient? So if you do have 7 quotes come in, and then maybe you're awarded 3 shipments on top of that. Again, all great problems to have. But if it's on a timer where it's like, if you don't accept it in a certain amount of time, you lose the opportunity, then what? Like a lot of technology, again, it's an expense. Like there's no way to put it. There's a P&L. There's money that goes out for that stuff. But what does that, because I look at a lot of this stuff as an investment. What does that money going out buy me back? Again, does it buy me the time to be able to more efficiently run my operation?
Yeah, and looking at the time suck of all these little tasks, right? It's 10 minutes to build the load. It's 5 minutes to publicize it on all these platforms. Anytime you can eliminate those steps through automation using AI correctly, right? Like draw a big firm line between like Chat GPT and AI as it affects our industry, right? Like different worlds entirely. But if you can use some of those tools to make yourself more efficient, get up to bat more frequently, that's going to be a win for you. And we always talk about it in public settings, like it's not man versus machine, right? It's man with machine, right? Better together. If you can be more efficient, get up to bat more frequently with your customers, be more accurate in everything you're sending out there, and then find capacity as efficient and effectively as possible from every source you're already doing business with, dude, that's a win. And that's definitely a leg up against all of your competitors who aren't doing that. They're still relying on spreadsheets. Right? They're asking Bob in the corner, hey, what did we pay that one carrier that one time on this lane?
No, it's very true, man. I think that there's a ton of opportunity out there right now, especially with the market that's coming. Like that's where I'm always looking. Like I know it's pretty easy to cover freight right now, but it's not going to be here soon. It's going to flip, and that's where, and I think like you see a lot of it out there with a lot of companies where it's like when it's easy, you kind of go on cruise control. You really do, because revenue's coming in. You know what? You think it's always going to last that way. And then reality strikes, money slows down a little bit. You got to get creative. And then it's going to slow down even more here when the market flips into a carrier market. And again, you're talking about sourcing capacity. How are you doing it right now? If you're in that churn and burn mentality where it's one and done, I'll just find somebody else. If you can't do it for $1,000 today, I'll find somebody for $900 tomorrow. If that's your mentality now, you're going to have a rude awakening coming up here, because the volatility of those markets is, because it's essentially like, if you want me to move this load, $5,000. I don't care that your customer's at 4,200, $5,000 if you want my truck. And, again, you've been in this industry for a long time. You've seen this. Like, what can you tell people about what that market looks like as opposed to kind of how it's been for the last 3 years?
Well, first off, in all my time in freight, I've never heard anybody sit down and be like, you know what? Everything's good, right? Customers are easy to come by. Rates are very fair and capacity is abundant, right? I can grab the Lego pieces, put a transaction together. Like I've never heard that ever in my life. Right? Everybody will talk about things being too expensive, too cheap, diesel's going haywire, capacity, I can't find a damn truck, right? It's always the same. And I think to your earlier point, like the sales cycle with your customer, always being there, always being true to them, is exactly the same as how you want to treat drivers, right? You need them at some point. So I think of like all of these economic factors as like farming, right? You need to tend the land way earlier than you think you need a crop to come out of it. And then you need to plant those crops and you need to water them and nurture them and then watch them grow. And as soon as they're ready to harvest, I hope you've got another plot of land that you've already started that on. So you're always harvesting instead of always planting. Right. You're behind the 8 ball at all times. And I've seen many companies that are great at that. And I've seen so many companies in freight that are really, really bad at that. When times are good or capacity's easy, however they wanted to find the good times, right? They do kickback. They go on cruise control. They're not focused on what next. And one of the things we've certainly seen, is we came to market just a couple of years ago in some of the toughest times in freight and have validated our product with our customers. And these companies are investing while times are tough, right? Their competitors, and even some of them, are having to make tough choices about layoffs, right? Nobody wants to go through that, but it's a reality of watching their P&L and then having the thoughtfulness or looking forward enough to say, okay, this is temporary. And we can restructure some of our costs, whether it's removing labor spend, changing their tech stack to open up some budget, but investing in new technologies that are industry leading when times are tough. So they're hooked up, they're ready to go, and they're probably in third gear by the time times turn, people have budget, and now they're trying to grab all these new technologies. They're going to be stuck in the queue of setup. Right. They're going to be 6 months behind getting everything ready to go.
You brought up layoffs there, and, because from my perspective, like, yes, I'm focused on today and today's revenue and selling and everything else, but I'm also always looking ahead, right? Like I'm always looking 6, 12, 24 months down the road. And, I view like this with technology is, for me, it's like, I'm never looking to not hire people, right? But it's like, if I don't want to hire 10 to know I'm going to have to get rid of 7 when the market shifts, I would rather hire 5 I went to public school, but I'd rather hire the right 3 to 4 where we pair them with the right technology who they can increase their output that way. So those tough decisions don't hopefully never come to my desk, right? Because, the reality is, I know that I'm not even going to address what is going on in the social media world of freight right now and all of that, because it's pathetic in my opinion. It really is. But my thing when it comes down to keeping people employed, right? I hope and I pray that I never have to make that decision. But at the end of the day, I need to look at, like, while we're on the slope up, am I pairing my team with the right tools to maximize their output? And that's not I need you to sell more, I need more revenue. It's no, I need my team to be competitive. Because again, man, like fundamentally, I offer the exact same thing as C.H. Robinson Brokerage, right? I don't have the bankroll yet. I don't have the headcount yet. But right now, when I'm building and scaling, when it comes down to me cold calling, when it comes down to me executing with my customers, I need to have that same level of output that they can offer, right? And so it's like pairing that up and building that up is just 100% on the top of my mind right now of how do I increase my output, my capabilities, right? Because again, there's a lot of people in freight who wear multiple hats, like we were talking about earlier, man. And it's like, you got to look at that. And then I don't know, man, I could go on for hours about this stuff because it's like, this is the shit that keeps me up at night, right? Like, how do I do this the right way? And I know that there's no playbook to a lot of this stuff, but how do I implement this stuff from day one so my team can grow smart?
And one of the things we talk about with our customers, and we've certainly learned from, right? I've, in my brokerage days, built quite a few brokerages, and some more successful than others, right? The things that we always had issues with is onboarding new brokers, right? We have a new sales rep, new somebody to the industry, or, and this is what gets a lot of people, we took them from CH. Right? We grabbed them out of a big brokerage where they absolutely had
they were out of their non-compete, non-solicit.
Of course.
It's past the rule. Yeah, whatever.
We would never violate non-competes. But we're bringing in somebody that another company spent time and money to train, right? And that hurts the smaller end of the industry more than the larger end. But being concise with your spend, right? Tightening up the bootstraps, making sure you're spending where it matters, and using technology and tools as a benefit to work at your brokerage, right? If you could take somebody totally outside of our industry, sit them down and actually have them quote loads inside of a week, right? Unheard of, right?
Well, unless you work in my company, because that's literally what we do, right? Like my co-founder, he didn't have any freight experience, right? Mechanical engineer for a very long time. He's a very smart person, right? But we got him in here and we paired him up using your guys' tool, like legitimately. And he's out there bidding freight with ease now, because it does boil down to a lot of the training aspect of things. And again, it's just like, you want to have it down. Again, this is perfect world scenario where it's like anybody could come in off the street theoretically and sit down and be able to piece together what is essentially going on.
And not to diminish the role that any of those people play, but that knowledge gap, right? That ramp up period and conveying all the tribal knowledge of an organization into actionable items for a person sitting in the seat will make them, you get your return on your investment much faster for them. They'll become more successful and they'll enjoy their career path, obviously, when they're successful, right? Nobody wants to go make those 100 phone calls, right? You want to take 10 from your shippers that are giving you loads of freight and happy with your service, right? You want to call the carriers that are pleased to work with you. So if you can use some of those tools to make their lives more effective and efficient, and to your comment about, take anybody off the street, right? Like, use them to build relationships. Use them to nurture your sales organization and build the culture of your company. Like that's what employees should be doing. The nitty gritty of like just dying through Excel spreadsheets, right? Pivot table after pivot table of what do I think is going to happen on this lane next week? Man, it's a click of a button. Right? Technology exists. We are that. Right? Use companies like us, and we're certainly not the only good technology out there, right? Obviously, I'm a little self-fulfilling here with what we do. But there's a lot of tools out there that make that job so much easier to do. And then you can focus on all of those relationships. But you also can use, if you have accurate pricing tools and you have a really great quoting tool, your company could bid on thousands of lanes through customer portals before your competitor even gets out of bed in the morning.
And that's exactly it. Like we were talking about, like, using it, because it's it seems like it's always RFP season, kind of what we were alluding to earlier, Matt. But again, it's just like, how do you bid at scale right now? Like, dude, we filled out multiple RFPs over these last couple of months. And again, like, we were able to get it down to like a matter of days of us going through it. Like, it was seamless to get the rates. But again, you go back and forth, right? I am OCD, so I double check and triple check everything just to make sure, because here's another thing about the RFP process at the end of the day. Sometimes those miles are off in there by hundreds, So it's like, from my perspective, I go in there and double check it. But again, it's just like, what makes us competitive at that level, and where we can get all of those prices out there before people even respond.
Absolutely. And with all those nitty-gritty details, right? So many of the shippers will tell you, like, oh, we're PC miler version XYZ.
Yeah.
And if your quoting tool is using something else that's not freight miles, wow.
Yeah.
Right? Big difference, especially if you're going to bid back at, a rate per mile.
Yeah. Let me see here. Sorry, I just saw this. Impressive portable studio. Sound is great. Excellent topic. And that's right, Robert. Thank you so much.
Nailed it.
Celine, she says, nice shirt, Matt. Parker Cheney, good morning. Tracy St. Clair watching over on YouTube. Good morning to you as well. Dude, I always get nervous about that stuff when you travel, because again, like, I double check everything, but it's just like, is the sound going to be there? Is everything going to be there? And, frankly, like, I do it no matter what, we're going to go live, whether the sound was on point or not. But, and a lot of that, and I bring that because it's like, nothing's ever going to be perfect, right? And that's another thing, back to the whole, when you're blaming the market and everything else, like, it's never perfect. You just got to execute, right?
Absolutely.
And no matter what is going on out there from a pricing perspective or anything else, your customers are expecting you to show up. And, and then on top of that, man, it's that consistency, right? And that's where, for me, what I utilize your guys' product for the most is the trend lines, right? Because it's like, I know I've been doing this job long enough to where I know obviously markets ebbs and flows, but I want to get a consistent price to my customer no matter what. I want to see, is there a spike coming? If there was a spike, what's the why behind it, right? Is this a short-term blip where, I'm going to eat it for a couple of weeks for my customer because I don't want to increase my rate by $400 or $500? Right. Or was there an event that says this is going to be high now for an extended period of time? Because I think that's another major oversight with a lot of this stuff is everyone's like, oh, I just need freight. I need freight. You need consistent business, right? Any schmuck out there can get a load one time. Anybody can do that, right?
I've seen it happen.
Exactly. I was that schmuck, right? But it's like, for me, how do I consistently show up? And again, it's that consistent price to my customer and carrier as well, right? Like, I'm still waiting for that broker to come to me that explains how they can make money without drivers. Still waiting for that one.
Automation, of course.
Exactly, right?
Phantom trucks.
Oh, God.
No, and you're spot on with being able to be consistent is a big factor.
Yeah.
And how do you balance that against everything we hear about in the news and what's going on with companies entering and exit the market? And are there too many drivers? Are there not enough drivers? Is there too much new equipment?
There's no driver shortage. I'm just putting that out there.
Unpopular opinion. There's not a driver shortage. Anyways.
Love it.
But yeah, so, every transaction we're looking at, you have the economic factors. We're looking at over 30 different conditions for every piece of freight that we quote.
30?
Over 30.
Damn. Okay.
And this is gentlemen and ladies far smarter than me.
Yeah.
I want to be very clear that our data science team is not wearing Hawaiian shirts at trade shows. They are professionals doing a great job.
Be.
They do such a good job. I get to show up like this.
Oh, man.
But on every transaction, we're looking at a multitude of factors that are not as obvious as weight, equipment type, right? Yeah. We drill down to location details. We spot trends inside our system of what's going on. And our machine learning process will spot all the trends, not just with addresses, customers, commodity types, all of those good things that seem obvious. Economic factors, things we can put on a piece of paper, say this makes sense that it would influence freight.
Yeah.
But when you dive into it, there could be things that you're not seeing, your team's unable to see, like a shipper down the street closed unexpectedly.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe they, it's a food grade facility that had an outbreak of something. They're now shut down for 72 hours to scrub that thing top to bottom, but they used to move 50 trucks a day out of there. Now you have 150 extra trucks in a local market.
Dude.
That's going to adjust pricing.
Yes.
And we won't know as people until it's too late. But when you have good technology like ours, sitting on top of it, watching each and every transaction, those events surface very, very quickly.
Yeah, I love it. We're at time. That was 30 minutes.
Fast 30.
I know. I like to stay mindful of everybody's time because all my viewers have real jobs and they're out there. Thankfully, they take the time every single day to come out and check us out. Matt, thank you so much for joining me. You guys, they're right up there. Sorry, you guys see the Green Screens logo? Hit them up, you guys. Again, I use them every single day inside of my brokerage to win all the freight that we're moving out there right now. But as always, you guys, that's going to be it. The replay will be up on iTunes and Spotify here shortly. Coffee with the Freight Coach. We'll be back tomorrow. I got more guests out there. As always, if you guys got value in what you heard today, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network because at the end of the day, if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon. And now there's that awkward moment where I come up here and end the stream because this is just what I do.